Hey up, Front Row Racing DP here once again. We've just completed the round 2 at Malaysia, where we've gone from the back of the grid, but this time finished second, making it a Mercedes 1-2 with Hamilton winning the race. That means that Mercedes, we're now in second place in the Constructors. Vettel is leading the championship standings. I'm currently in second, 7 points behind, and Hamilton has only scored the 1 point. Has only had the 1 point result, a win, which puts him on 25 points in 4th place. But now we're on to round 3 at China, and I can honestly say I haven't done a lap round here yet on this particular game. Obviously I know it from previous games, but I haven't done a lap round here on this. So this one could be quite interesting, and I've pressed the wrong bloody button. We'll continue the championship, thank you very much. And just to show here, it is on legend, flashbacks are off, part firme is off in case it screws me over, vehicle damage is on full, and the assists are all off. You don't need them. Well, okay, some do. I prefer not to have them. I've never raced with assists. I prefer to be in control of the car, even if I'm out of control.
Welcome to the Shanghai International Circuit for today's practice session. The time is just before 10 in the morning and we should soon be seeing the first cars leaving the garages. This is a popular location for many of the teams. The circuit is extremely demanding for both the drivers and the cars, and that makes it a very exciting place to race.
It's certainly a track that's liked by the drivers, providing a good set of challenges when racing. It has 2 long straights that allow for great overtaking opportunities and a very complex 360-degree right-hand corner combination just after the start-finish line. It's a circuit that really has a bit of everything.
Max Verstappen was a record breaker at the Australian Grand Prix by becoming the youngest ever F1 driver to take to the grid. He beat Jaime Alguersuari's previous record of 19 years and 125 days.
It shows the great potential that they believe Max has to promote him so early. I'm sure he'll be eager to repay their faith out on the track.
I don't know if you just saw that then, but as he panned onto the Lotus, the driver looked at the camera and thought, oh God, pulled his visor down. I like that. Right, okay, I haven't driven around here, so I don't have a setup. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to use my Spa setup and see how we get on with it. Okay, so in we go. Load the setup this time, Dave. Let's not override it. So we'll go and do a couple of laps, get warmed up, see how the old setup feels. And I must remember to look at the weather, because I've got a feeling it's going to rain at this one. The weather is currently overcast. It is only 10 o'clock in the morning though, but it is overcast, which means I've got a feeling it's going to rain, especially when you look at those skies up there. It is looking very grey, a little blur in the background, but it is looking a bit dull. Now, with it being a little bit overcast, it does mean that the track is not going to be up to temperature, as well as not being rubbered in, so we could be on for quite a tricky little run here. But you look at those clouds, I'd say they definitely look a little bit potentially rain filled. As I say, I haven't done any laps around this track on F1 2015, so I don't know if they've made any sort of differences to it. I don't know how the car's going to handle around it. I don't know how my setup's going to handle around it. Oh, not nice on that corner.
through one, run out to the middle of the row as you come off the brakes and into two. Patience is key here.
He's right. Patience could be key here. I'm not a fan of using first gear, so I'm probably going to try second gear around that hairpin on the next lap. Oh, we didn't like that. So the F1 2014 line in, not a particularly good one. I'm going to have to either get it around the corner then brake, which I don't really like doing, or just give it a little bit of brakes on the way in. Now this used to be a track that I really used to hate, but it definitely grew on me. Although F1 2014, this corner was almost impossible to be quick through on a wheel. But for the race I'm going to do my usual thing in this championship season, start from the back of the grid. A little too much slipping on the rear end.
We've dropped down into the bottom half of the field. We need a response. You're nearly out of fuel.
It's not liking the brakes around there at all.
The next 2 laps. 5 kilos of fuel in the tank. Just 5 kilos of fuel remain. Lewis is in first position. P1. Conditions to remain dry for a while. We will update you if the outlook changes.
Oh, that was off-putting. I was expecting him to go round the corner. Not a bad lap time, but I think we need to make some minor adjustments. So, what I'm actually going to do, just go a little bit on the aeros, see how we get on with that. I also want to check the weather, because if it's going to rain, we're going to need a setup for the rain. Heavy cloud followed by possible showers. Okay, so it's saying 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, it's going to be overcast. We're going to get an actual rain in there, not on 45 minutes. What about on 90? Sunshine. So it might rain, it might not rain. That's not very helpful at all. Well, he's a bit slow down there, isn't he? I just want to try and spot a car going around turn 1, but there isn't anyone actually heading up to it on a hot lap at the moment. Oh well. Right, okay.
Repeat the message.
Interesting, I didn't ask you a message there, Mr. Engineer. Ah, that was on the prime tyre as well, okay. So the lack of grip can be explained a little bit by the prime tyre, but if I have made the right sort of change here, and it helps us a lot, then I'll stick with it. But one thing to bear in mind is I'm not doing loads of work on setups here. The setups I'm going to use for the tracks are not going to be the optimal setups for the tracks, simply because I'm not spending the time working on them. My setups for tracks tend to come in the days before our league races at Front Row Racing, because what I tend to do is, for example, at the moment I'll focus mainly on Australia, and then when Australia is done I'll focus on Malaysia, and when Malaysia's done I'll focus on China, and so on, rather than thrash through all of the tracks, try and get a bit of a setup on each of them that isn't very good. I tend to do it another way, the other way round. I just focus on one track and try and get the best setup that I can for the league race. Oh, the cone's moving me over the road. Right, go on. Oh, it's pulling me off to the left now. Right, it feels like it has now left the car. I like that though. You go running over a cone, it gets stuck under your car. It's going to affect how your car handles. Nice. As long as it doesn't explode your cars like they used to on 2013 and 14. Right, I've got enough time to put one lap in and save the setup.
The times for sector 3 are a little down. 1 and 2 are well off the pace.
Come on, come round, thank you. Oh, I didn't like going into third early there. Means it's going to be a slow lap. got off the steering when I shouldn't have done.
If you find yourself getting understeer, then you're not getting enough grip from the front tyres. It could mean that the car isn't being allowed to lean on the tyre, possibly caused by a front suspension that's too stiff, or maybe the front wing isn't producing enough downforce. Nice lap, we're now in P5.
I was just trying there. I had an idea of what would happen if I tried going into that corner flat out and then braking, but I did save it for the last run of the practice session. What I found the better way to do it was a nice good healthy press of the brake just before we turn in. It closes DRS and gets the car slowed down quite nicely. Now the problem I'm having on this particular run is that my car is bottoming out a little too much, so I'm just going to raise the tyre pressure there. Okay, save that setup as another whip because it's still not perfect, but we're not going to play about with it anymore for now. And I'm going to have a quick smoke and then we'll get on to qualifying, which once again I am not going to take part in. Now this race, I mean I said it for the last couple, could be quite tricky. This one I think could be more difficult than the previous two. I don't think we're going to get the kind of result that we did. It could all depend on how that first corner goes. Now you see, against the AI, okay, sometimes you can just chuck it up the inside and overtake 10 cars, but that's not really the way that I like to do it. And at some tracks, I mean, if you happen to be starting at the back, some tracks you may be better off just taking it easy and having a nice gentle start, saving your tyres, and
he's managed to get P1 in today's practice session.
Yeah, and letting whatever might happen at turn 1 happen, and then just driving past. Okay, so we're 1.3 seconds down, but we are on the prime. We were on the prime tyre. I didn't do an option run there. If you're on averages, knock about 0.8 to a second off, and put us in about second place. But then that lap time we did there, we had a horrible turn 2 or turn 3 as it is, trying to take it in third gear, and the car just wanted to wash out wide. So we've got a few tenths to find there. So speed wise we could be okay. However, we'll just have to see how we get on in the race. Now a brilliant result for me here would be Vettel and Hamilton both have a shocker, and Raikkonen as well, allowing me to get ahead of them. If I can just get another points finish ahead of Vettel, I may be able to close the gap more or get past him in the standings. But if Hamilton goes and wins another, I will be behind.
F1 qualifying session here in Shanghai, China. One of the big changes on this year's grid is Fernando Alonso, who's left Ferrari and is now back with McLaren.
Many people would never have thought Fernando would go back to McLaren after the volatile year he spent there in 2007. But back he is, and he'll be wanting to make the most of their renewed partnership with Honda.
So what do you guys think of the McLaren-Honda partnership then? Okay. Just to be on the safe side, we shall load the setup back on. Now, I'm not going to do the qualifying session as I mentioned, so that we can start from the back of the grid.
Lewis Hamilton provided us with the performance of the day here in
Bloody hell!
Fastest lap means he's on pole for tomorrow's race.
He's really been able to connect all the dots on that lap. It was just inch perfect. What a performance. And will definitely be the driver to beat on Sunday.
Kvyat, second place. Interesting. He's obviously got a bit of speed around here. Alonso down in 16th again. Jenson Button 13th. Now really what I need is for Kvyat to take out Hamilton, because if Hamilton gets a clear start, he will just disappear. There's no chance of catching him. If someone can get ahead of him and hold him up, we may have half a chance. Could be a very interesting race, this one. I've got a feeling a few of the cars are going to go very, very slow around that turn 1, 2, 3 complex, which could back up a lot of the cars. So it's a case of could take it cautious or be aggressive.
It's now time to sit back and relax and enjoy the show. It's time for the Chinese Grand Prix here in Shanghai. Here's today's pole sitter, Lewis Hamilton. When I was speaking to him early on, I got the sense that he has total confidence in himself and his Mercedes car to take that race victory today.
After yesterday's qualifying performance, I think he has every chance of going on to win today. He really was a cut above the rest of the field, and if he brings the same level of speed, he shouldn't have any problems winning the race.
Daniel Kvyat looks to have the upper hand on Daniel Ricciardo this weekend. He really is dialed into this track.
Beware the Russian Crofty. He's on fire so far this weekend, and looks to be able to get more out of that Red Bull over this circuit than Ricciardo can. Can he keep that going for the duration of the race though?
That's a good question. Can Kvyat keep it going? More to the point, can I get anywhere near the front? It's looking a bit gloomy. I've seen a few of them are planning on starting on primes. I don't really fancy starting on the primes, but maybe they're going on the primes with a chance of it being wet. Personally, I'm going to go with the options and take them long again and see how we get on. If it's going to rain, it's going to rain. I can only hope that it does so before I pit. I'm going to keep a tight line. I could get squeezed. I'm going to go for the wide line, but again we'll get squeezed. I backed out of that one there because the two cars ahead were getting busy. I feel I'd leave them to it. Let Grosjean get himself into a situation perhaps. Oh, big slide. But that is another thing I like. This was on about earlier. You can get the rear end out and still be in control of the car. Interesting lap. Now, with the arrows I'm running, I am struggling a little bit on a straight line in clear air, but all 3 wide up ahead. Crash happening. Oh, it's going to do me for a legal overtake. Come on, go past, come on, get past me. Come on, you fool. I thought I was going to end up with a penalty then, because Nazar didn't want to take his position back. Didn't mean to do that. Oh no, come on. Oh well, that'll teach him for trying to get me to have a penalty. To be fair, that was a very bad move by myself. I wasn't going for the overtake. Just a bit of anger, locked up. That's why it's never good to drive angry. Although the woman in that film is a stunner. Okay, Dave, get back into your rhythm. Okay, this is where we're going to struggle a little bit in the clean air, but through the corners will be much faster.
Okay, there's 2 more laps until the pit window. You'll be on the primes for the next stint.
A little too aggressive on the power then. Come on, get in that slipstream.
Brake hard into the next couple of corners. The brakes are running too cold. Closing rather low. Watch for a chance to make a move. In terms of fuel, we're now at about 75% of our starting load. 75% fuel remaining. That's P8. You're now in P8.
Too much curb. The front five have really stormed away. So 7 seconds behind Massa. I wonder how much time I lost with that little collision with NASA. Come on, come back, come back. Okay, so we've got 3 in the pits. I go for one more. I'm gonna go for one more. Or maybe it was a bad idea. I think it was definitely a bad idea. I mean, okay, the tyres will still do more laps, but they're definitely not feeling as good. Box this lap. I mentioned on my, I think it was Australia or even Malaysia race, that there is no tyre wear indicator. You kind of have to feel it unless you wait for the engineer to tell you. Obviously I was feeling it, I was mentioning it, and then sort of half a lap later the engineer has mentioned it. Add a little bit on the front wing. I haven't done a pit entry here yet. kind of handy that it took over, but that's a little annoying because I've got pit assistance off, so it shouldn't take over until I get to the pit limiter line. Although you can enter some pits at 200 mile an hour, get to the pit limiter line and bang, 49 mile an hour. I don't like that. I do think there should be a slow down phase. Either one the driver has to do themselves, or a game controlled one. Oh, Massa, should have given me a bit more room there, mister. That's the cold tyre effect. But you'll see, before the pit stops, Massa was 7 seconds ahead of me. So through the pit stop phase, I have pulled a lot of that back. Obviously, I'm losing a bit now because of the cold tyres, but we'll get it back. Now, with putting the front wing up a little bit, it could benefit us, or it could make the front end too perky, causing oversteer. So we are going to have to be careful of that one, especially on corners like this. Oh, too quick, too quick. So what's all that smoke then? Oh, Bottas's engine's gone by the looks of it. I think Vettel's going to be too far ahead to catch. Come on, I want another podium. Too deep. And it gained a tiny amount of time then. That was close. No, it's the first time it's happened in 3 races, but I mentioned it on the first Australia race. The worst thing about the game at the moment is the screen freeze and speed up afterwards. I just had it there, managed to survive it. Just. That may have just cost me a shot at the Ferraris. Yep, I ended up gaining nothing on that lap. Okay, I gained a second overall, but most of it was in that first sector. Come on, come on, come on. So, 4th place it'll be then. Ah, I should have had them. I should have had them. But not bad, as once again we go from the back of the grid, get up to 4th place.
Mercedes have this year, as shown again today with a brilliant race victory.
It's been a great day's racing, and it's fair to say that they deserved that win. Their strategy was spot on.
Well, what a weekend that has been. Please join us next time for another thrilling instalment of this Formula One season.
Well, Daniel Kvyat's race obviously didn't go as well as his qualifying session, since he started 2nd, finished 8th. But for me, overall in that race, I can't really complain. A little bit of a collision with Felipe Nasr, also having to back out of an overtake. It's one of the things that... another thing that I do like that they've done on this game. On F1 2014 and previous games, if there was a yellow flag, it didn't really matter what you did, whether you overtook or not. But now, you overtake under yellow flag, you better give that place back. If you don't, you're getting a penalty. And I must admit, I kind of forgot that in the heat of the moment. I could see 3 cars ahead getting side by side, so I backed off a little bit. The 2 cars ahead of me didn't really see what was going on. And when the crash happened, they sort of backed off. I saw 2 cars go off the track to the inside, so I thought, okay, we'll sneak through here because the crash is off the track. We're now ahead of it, and it done me for overtaking under yellow. I then had to back off to let Felipe Nasr through, and he didn't want to do it, but he eventually got through. But anyway, good race overall, and I do really feel that I should have had those Ferraris at the end there. Now, for the championship standings, it means that Vettel has extended his lead over myself. Lewis Hamilton has jumped up into 2nd place. I mean, to be honest, we're starting at the back of the grid for every race. I don't expect to win the championship. But it was just I wanted to drive the Mercedes, and the only real fair way to do that is to start at the back of the grid, because, not just fair way, if I qualified, then you'd have nothing to watch other than me driving round. I don't see the point of that. The videos that I'm doing here, they're just for fun, they're just for a laugh. They're just to have a bit of racing, overtake some cars, see how the AIs do, and all that kind of jazz. Now for the constructors, we're in 2nd place, 8 points behind. We won't let Ferrari win that championship. It's not going to happen. Now for Bottas in that race, I do feel a little sorry for him. It did look like either he had a puncture or his engine blew. But either way, it ended his race. Okay. Now for the previous couple of races I've done, I've said, right, I'm going to end this live stream and we're going to start up a new one for the next round. However, I am going to take a break now. I'm not going to do another championship race today. I'll just have to see when I can fit them in. But I do need to take a break. I will be back on in about an hour and a half for a bit of a front row racing race night. However, because of my bad back, I'm probably not going to do any more racing. I'll probably play about with the broadcast views and stuff like that. We'll see how we get on. But I will be back on in about an hour and a half's time. Now, the videos that I've done so far, round 1, 2, and this one, round 3, I will upload them onto YouTube as long as Twitch doesn't mess them up. So they will be on there shortly. If you are interested in checking out my YouTube channel, just search for Front Row Racing _DP, no spaces. I would put a link up, but I forgot to get it, and I would also put it up across the bottom of my page, but I don't really want to press the XMB button because I have a theory at the moment that doing so corrupts the Twitch videos, so I'm trying to avoid the XMB at all costs. So anyway, this is going to be the end of this live stream. I've enjoyed the races that I've done today. I hope those of you that have been watching have also enjoyed the races. So yeah, I've been Front Row Racing DP, otherwise known as Dave, and I shall see you all soon. Now, as a little bonus feature, if you are still there watching, I'm just going to let this replay run through. I'm not going to be on the microphone, but just as a little bonus feature for those of you that have viewed, we'll watch the replay. So, enjoy. Now I think we're coming into the last lap, or the last 2 laps. I think this is the last lap. As I've been sitting here watching and enjoying, it's been quite enjoyable to watch. I've also snuck off and grabbed a link for my YouTube channel, which I'll post up in a moment. So if anyone does want a link to my YouTube channel, it will be in the chat room. I'll post the link for a video. It's just a warm lap I did at Spa. It's not titled as a hot lap, because it's not a hot lap. It's just a friend of mine posted a lap on YouTube, on Facebook, and his mates were like, "How have you gone that quick?" And I was like, "We've still got 2 seconds to find." And they were like, yeah. I was like, okay. So I just chucked the setup on, went round and knocked a second off it. So I posted it. So I called it a warm lap, not a hot lap. As I mentioned earlier, I haven't worked on the setups fully, so I haven't got hot laps yet. So I shall post a link to the YouTube channel. So if you are interested in watching anything on there, there's only a couple of F1 videos at the moment. There's a lot more project cars videos, some serious, some helping. There's different playlists, time trials, some very good time trial videos on there, some online races, somewhere just having fun and a laugh with mates. One you should watch actually is called Project Cars Relay Race, because that was just an absolute blast. It was a right laugh, and you also get to hear me giggling like a girl, which isn't meant as offensive, because let's face it, if you're a bloke, you love the way a girl giggles, or should I say a woman giggles. So anyway, right, this is going to be the end of the live stream then, after that little bonus run of the replay there. I said I'd be back on in about an hour and a half. It's actually going to be about 8 o'clock UK time, so about an hour and 40 minutes. And as I said, I'm probably not going to be doing any racing because of my bad back. But what I'll do is I'll get a group of my friends in, I'll let them race, and I'll probably just do a bit of broadcast in preparation, a bit of practice for when I'm doing commentary for Front Row Racing League races. Now if you are interested in what Front Row Racing is all about, basically we run F1 leagues. We have done for the last few years, and we've been gearing up for the next season on F1 2015. And our leagues are actually currently full at the moment, but if you have enjoyed watching me drive around, then you may enjoy watching the live streams that we will do on the Front Row Racing Twitch channel. We will broadcast, or at least try to broadcast the races live, and they will be on Wednesdays and Thursdays. Now the league was due to start next week, but we may have to put a delay on that, given some of the issues with the game. We're going to be deciding that in the next day or so. But yeah, Wednesdays and Thursdays, if you'd be interested in watching some league racing, then that'll be the place to do it. On the Wednesdays I'll be racing in the Front Row Racing World Championship, a non-assist league, and on the Thursdays I will be hosting and commentating on the Front Row Racing World Series, something that I've done for a couple of seasons now. And I really enjoy it, and quite a few of the people that have watched or even raced in those races, they enjoy watching the videos back. But anyway, okay, that's it for the live stream then. I've been Front Row Racing DP, otherwise known as Dave. Thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you all soon.